Argentina player says, "We learned how to fight because of Messi." Granit Xhaka says, "Stopping Lionel Messi for the entire 90 minutes is almost impossible." And Harry Kane's reaction after facing Norway reveals his thoughts about Messi. Before we continue, don't forget to share your prediction in the comments. Which national team do you think has the biggest chance of winning this World Cup? And if you are a true Messi fan, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow all the latest updates. Cristian Romero, Argentina defender and Tottenham player, has revealed that the winning mentality and champion mindset of this current Argentina generation comes mainly from two legendary figures, Lionel Messi and Ángel Di María. According to Romero, these two experienced players showed the younger generation what it truly means to fight, suffer, and never give up. He explained that Messi and Di María went through difficult moments in the past. They faced disappointment. They received heavy criticism. But every single time they fell, they stood back up and continued fighting until they finally achieved glory with the national team. Ahead of Argentina's quarterfinal clash against Switzerland, Romero explained, "Messi's mentality is what always leads Argentina." He continued, "Yes, this is part of our DNA, but a big part of it comes from Leo and Di María. We watched their journey. We saw them get knocked down, criticized, and questioned, but they always found the strength to rise again and keep fighting." Romero added, "That is what eventually brought them success. Now we have no choice but to follow the same path. We follow the footsteps of our captain and the experiences he has lived throughout all these years with Argentina. That is the extra motivation that gives us strength. We fight together with him, and we continue learning from him." Romero made these comments in Kansas City while discussing Argentina's incredible comeback victory against Egypt at the 2026 World Cup. Argentina found themselves 2 goals behind, but managed to complete a dramatic turnaround and win the match 3-2. Romero himself played a major role in that comeback, scoring one of Argentina's goals during the thrilling recovery. Meanwhile, Argentina's other central defender, Lisandro Martinez, also shared his thoughts about what makes this team special. According to Martinez, one of Argentina's biggest strengths is the respect they always show toward every opponent. Speaking from the mixed zone at Sporting Kansas City's training facility, Martinez said, "They have shown this in every match. If Switzerland has reached this stage of the tournament, it means they completely deserve to be here." He continued, "We watched their match against Colombia. They continue trying to play football throughout the game. They are physically very strong, dangerous in aerial situations, and I believe we are going to see a great football match." Granit Xhaka, "Stopping Lionel Messi for the full 90 minutes is almost impossible." Switzerland captain and midfield leader Granit Xhaka has spoken with enormous respect about Lionel Messi ahead of the highly anticipated quarterfinal clash between Switzerland and Argentina at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Football fans around the world are waiting for this massive encounter, a match that will decide one of the 4 teams reaching the World Cup semifinals. Switzerland enters this game with great confidence and a huge ambition. They want to create one of the biggest surprises of the tournament by defeating Messi and his Argentina teammates. However, Xhaka understands the enormous challenge waiting in front of his team. Xhaka, "Playing in Messi's era is a privilege." During the pre-match press conference, the Swiss captain showed his admiration for Argentina's number 10. Xhaka explained that words are simply not enough to describe the impact Messi has had on football throughout his legendary career. He said, "There are not enough words to describe Messi. Everyone around the world knows his quality, his talent, and his technical ability." He continued, "For me, being part of Lionel Messi's generation is something special. It is a privilege and a great source of pride because he is simply one of the greatest footballers in history." Xhaka added, "Sharing the same pitch with him tomorrow is something that gives all players great pride and happiness. He is an extraordinary footballer, and facing him is a unique experience." The tactical challenge: how can Switzerland stop Messi? When asked about Switzerland's plan to reduce Messi's influence during the match, Xhaka admitted that the task would be extremely difficult. The Swiss midfielder knows that stopping Messi individually is almost impossible. According to him, the only solution is collective teamwork. Switzerland must defend together. They must close spaces quickly, and they must avoid giving Messi time and freedom to create dangerous situations. Xhaka explained, It will be extremely difficult to stop Messi and limit his impact throughout the entire 90 minutes. He continued, "As a team, we have to reduce the spaces around him as quickly as possible and continue doing that consistently. Only then will we have a real opportunity to achieve a positive result in such a difficult match." The Swiss captain knows that even the smallest mistake against Messi can become a decisive moment. Because throughout his career, Messi has proven that he only needs one opportunity to change the entire direction of a game. And that is exactly the danger Switzerland must prepare for. Harry Kane's reaction after facing Norway about Messi. Note, the following section is a dramatic scripted narration written from Harry Kane's perspective for storytelling purposes. It is not an actual statement from Harry Kane. 90 minutes have just ended. The match is over, but I can still feel every moment of it. Every sprint, every challenge, every second of the battle remains in my body. A World Cup quarterfinal is not a place where you can relax. There is no time to breathe. There is no room to think about anything except the match in front of you. But when I walked off the pitch and someone asked me about Lionel Messi, something inside me started thinking differently. Even after watching him countless times throughout my career, I realized there was something about Messi that was difficult to explain. Normally, when people discuss the best player in the world, they judge everything based on the present moment. Who is playing the best right now? Who is scoring the most goals? Who is carrying their team? Who is deciding the biggest matches? And when I apply that same logic to this World Cup, one name immediately stands above everyone else. Lionel Messi. That is the part that makes me stop and think. Because according to everything I understand about football, this situation should not be happening. I am a striker. I know this position better than most people. I understand what every movement costs. I know the physical demands behind every sprint, every pressing action against defenders, every run that may never appear on the statistics sheet. And I also understand how age changes everything. Because numbers never lie. As players enter their late 30s, their roles naturally change. They move less. They rely more on intelligence. They depend more on positioning, experience, and reading the game, instead of explosive speed and constant physical actions. That is what almost every player experiences. And honestly, that is exactly what I expected from Messi in this tournament. But that is not what I am seeing. What I see is completely different. I watch Messi play, and I forget that he is 39 years old. I forget that he has already played more than 1,000 professional matches. I forget all the battles, injuries, pressure, and years of football that should have taken a physical toll on his body. I don't see a player trying to hide his weaknesses. I don't see someone changing his style because of age. I don't see a player simply trying to survive at the highest level. Instead, I see the same football intelligence, the same creativity, the same confidence, the same ability to control matches that we saw when he was at the absolute peak of his career. And as someone who understands football from the inside, that is what makes it so difficult to explain. There is a massive difference between a player who continues performing well at an advanced age and a player who becomes the best player in an entire tournament while approaching 40 years old. The first situation is something football has seen before. Players who maintain professionalism, players who continue contributing, players who become examples for younger generations. But the second situation? That is something completely different. That is something football has rarely, if ever, witnessed. And I don't believe we will see something like this again easily. As a national team captain, I also understand another important part of football. Leadership is not only about personal statistics. It is not only about scoring goals. It is not only about individual performances. True leadership is about making everyone around you perform better. And when I watch Argentina in this World Cup, that is exactly what I see. I see a team playing at a level higher than many people expected. A team that looks stronger than just the names written on the squad list. And that does not happen by accident. That is the influence of one person. An influence that cannot always be measured by numbers. An influence that does not always appear in statistics. But everyone watching the game can feel it. And that is why I believe Argentina are the biggest candidates to win this World Cup. Not because they necessarily have the strongest squad on paper. That is a debate where many people can have different opinions. But because they have the one player who can completely change a match at any moment. No matter how difficult the situation is. No matter how much pressure exists. No matter whether his team is winning or losing. And in knockout football, that ability becomes even more valuable. Because at this stage of the tournament, One moment can decide everything. One action can send a team into the next round, or send them home. And Messi has proven throughout his career that he is capable of creating those moments. Winning 2 consecutive World Cups is one of the rarest achievements in football history. It is something that has not happened for many decades. A challenge considered among the most difficult accomplishments in the entire sport. And if Argentina managed to achieve that because of a player who is approaching 40 years old, a player who continues carrying his team on his shoulders, then this story would become even more extraordinary. But after everything I have seen from Messi in this tournament, I cannot rule out that possibility. Not at all. There is another thing I notice as a striker when I study opponents. Messi does not depend on only one way of hurting teams. He does not have a single predictable pattern. In one match, he can decide the game through a free kick. In another, he can destroy a defense with individual dribbling. And in another, he can move deeper into midfield and become the creator who controls the entire attack. That variety is what makes him so difficult to prepare against. Because you cannot simply stop one thing. You cannot close one path and believe the danger is gone. Because Messi will always find another solution. England also has the ambition to win this tournament. We came here with serious goals. We want to go as far as possible. And my responsibility is to lead my country through every challenge that comes our way. This is my duty. This is my passion. And this has been my dream since I was a child. But honesty is also a part of being a professional. A true competitor must be able to recognize what he sees. And when I look at Argentina, I see something that no other team in this tournament has. The thing that stays in my mind more than anything else is simple. Messi does not look like a player who is 39 years old and desperately trying to prove he can still compete. He looks like a player who understands exactly who he is. A player who knows his ability. A player who steps onto the pitch with complete belief and confidence. Every single minute. Every single match. And perhaps that calm confidence is the most dangerous thing about him. He does not need to shout. He does not need to prove himself. He does not need to convince anyone. His football speaks for him. Many years from now, people will look back at this World Cup and remember the stories created during this tournament. But I believe one story will stand above many others. The story of a player who refused to allow age to decide his limits. A player who showed the world that the boundaries we believe are fixed are not always truly fixed. A player who continued challenging expectations. A player who continued inspiring millions. A player named Lionel Messi.